Good morning, everyone. Heading to work. So I've had a lot of unfortunate, life-changing events that have occurred recently. I've had a very struggling relationship with my older sister. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. We don't have a lot of love for each other, so therefore we've basically I've had a love-hate relationship for 42 years of my life. It's basically since I was a child that I can remember. I probably should say it's probably been less, because I don't have any memory of when I was a baby, but I do have some memories left of when I was between as early as 4, between 3 and 4 is where I have memories. So let me kind of go into a little history with my family. I am what you would call the black sheep of the family. I don't fit in with the family. I never have. And I've went through multiple families because, my parents split when I was young, and I don't believe splitting at a young age, people going through divorce, is a bad thing. I have my reasons why I think that it is actually, in some cases, for the best. I'm not gonna move my knife. I sleep with a knife, go figure. Anyways, let's just go there. So, she hates me, and I'm okay with it. She blames me for a lot of mishaps that happened in her life, and I disagree, but that's okay. She doesn't want to accept her own responsibility and the fact that she destroyed her own family with her own hands, just like when I was attempting to do drugs because, my family introduced me to it. And I tore my own family down. But then I found out it was probably a good thing for me to get away from my marriage, because after the counselor that we went to had told me to basically, and why he would tell me this, I didn't even think back like how badly they were setting me up to wind up in court and having me appear like I lost my ever fucking mind. And see, gaslighting is a serious offense. And why sheriffs, DAs, lawyers, all these people that are involved in dictating your life, I say dictating because they do, because they give you orders and you have to follow through with these orders. If you don't follow through with the orders, then you're called committing a crime, and you are held accountable under their laws to where you have either fines or time. So then you see how people have discovered how to loophole the system and get theirs. One way or another, they find some way to shit on the government by shitting on the people. And it sucks. It really does. Because I live in a very small town, the sheriffs don't like to show up there unless they're serving you paper. Because I remember having a conversation not too long ago with a sheriff, and I'm like, well, what do you do? I don't normally see you here. And he had told me, well, I'm just here to serve paperwork. Oh, okay. We're sitting right across from a grow in our cars. Drives by like it's nothing. And it's a grow within a community. There's drug dealers in the community. There are children with drug dealers in the community. And there are people that are absconding in the community. So then it makes you really wonder just how fucked up Shasta County system truly is. Alright, I'm going to go there. I'm going to break it down for you and show how it is that people are able to steal from each other. Now, I'm not a thief. That's not something I like to do. I remember my sister trying to teach me how to steal when she had shoved candles from a local store in Virginia down my pants. She wanted candles, so she stole candles. And she made me a part of it, just like when she made me accomplice. But then again, I'm gonna own it. I didn't know any better, and I was so intent on having my sister accept me instead of hating me and subjecting me to terrible behavior. So it's like whatever it takes. I was to the point. I wanted her not to kill me. I wanted her not to hurt me. Because I had, when I was super young, I had undergone something not very traumatic with her being present, but there was a time in my life where somebody was molesting me and had me do things I didn't want to do. And when I had opened this up to my husband, and I thought close friends, they decided to say that my son had done that to their child, and that wasn't true. It was their child had done it to his cousin. See, we have to be very careful about what... I've got somebody in front of me driving like a damn idiot, so this is great. On the way to work, and someone doesn't know how to stay on their side of the road. Lovely. Okay, so, anyways, I had an ordeal that had happened, and my sister had kept watch at the door. And made sure that no adults were able... Oh god, this guy looks like he was on drugs. Definitely looked like he was on drugs. Okay. Oh, life is great, really it is. So anyways, she had kept watch at the door. Now I'd blocked that out until a few years back. We got into a really bad argument, and she spun it out, and she said the most foulest, heartless shit to me. And it put me back emotionally for a couple of years until I was finally able to forgive her and try and reconnect with her. Finding out, and this is where when I say I didn't have the greatest childhood and stuff, finding out that my sister was perfectly fine and wasn't forced to watch the door for the things that I had to do, because there were times where my own brother was trying to shove me down a laundry chute. He had locked me out. They lured me out onto out the window and onto the little roof that was below his window, and they locked me out of the house. They both did, until my grandmother had arrived home from work. Now this is what happens when you don't have a babysitter, because you live in a very small town, country town. But that's besides the point. But the thing is, when she had told me, better you than me, I lost a lot of love and respect for my sister. she allowed to happen to me. Her and my brother had got me to eat dog food. The hard candy, the hard, not candy, but the hard, they told me it was candy. It was a special candy, they told me, and I believed them. I remember so anyways, I just remember not having a strong family bond with my siblings. And then I remember when my mom would come and visit us, she would just take my sister. She wouldn't take me. There was one then there was a couple of times where I remember being sat on a bar. Now, where this place was, I can't get a straight answer from my dad. And I'm going to be completely honest. He's not my dad. I don't talk to him. I don't have anything to do with him. Because he would rather father other people. Now, they say that that's daddy issues. I think it came down to him being told that there's a good possibility I'm not his, probably caused that issue where there was no family bond created. So when I tell people I literally had raised myself, people really should believe me, because the only time we had real family functions and stuff was when I lived with my grandmother. And living with my grandma was very nice and very bad at the same time. But I learned how to just put up with things because it kept the peace. So I don't like being told that I'm crazy, and I don't like being told that I'm fucked up, because I'm neither of those things. But I've had fucked up shit happen to me, and I don't think I deserved it. Now, I don't need to go to counseling, but if I'm choosing to go to counseling to make all this shit just kind of make sense and why people would do these things to me, then, I want to find out what pushes people to do fucked up shit. So I attempted to go to school a few times. I went to Shasta Community College. I attempted that. I ended up taking a psychology course. And I started getting an idea of things. But I noticed, because of the early molestation in my life, it had turned on my switch. And this is called, and I call it a sexual switch. It's like you go either two ways, is what I was learned, that you either become 100% prude or you become 100% open with your sexuality and other sexuality. And this is something that I had chose when I had children, was to protect them, so I helicoptered the fuck out of my children. And I didn't micromanage them, but like when it came to dealing with public, staying the night and stuff like that, I was very reluctant. There was a few times I did allow it, and then great, more strange people just on the side of the road that's not normally here. I drive 3 different highways daily, it seems like, because like my schedule changes, and I'm up here in the mountains, which I came here to Northern California because my sister needed to have her surgery, and she wanted me to watch her kids, and I showed up here pregnant, and I had intentions of going back to Seattle. until my fiance had cut off our engagement, and he went back to his ex-girlfriend. And I lost ties with him. I lost ties with a lot of people because when people show me who they are, I don't want to be around them. I don't like it when people set me up to fail. And I'm going to own my responsibility because of my naivety. I was very naive. I lived a very sheltered life. When I lived in Connecticut, I did have some friends. But the older we started getting, I noticed that my sister had pulled away from me and then started creating my friendships to spoil because she would talk shit to them about me. She'd say terrible things about me, and she's never stopped doing this. She's been doing this all my life. Every time that she'd introduce me to a guy, and she continued to do this most of my life, she didn't introduce me to my husband, which was nice, but I chose poorly. And I made the reason why I married him was because I was pregnant. I wasn't in love with him because he made it impossible to love him. See, when people say love unconditionally, I have a problem with that because there's people out there that will take advantage of you loving them unconditionally. They will not reciprocate, one, and they'll take full advantage of you and then discard you when they're done with you. And the people are like, well, it's your fault these things happen to you. But then where is the accountability and responsibility for the people that do shitty things to people and then want to justify their shitty behavior and have terrible excuses to justify their shitty behavior? I'm still trying to understand, living in on and off in Shasta County for the past 20 years, the mentality and how it's been consistently based off drugs. I've watched several people come in and out of my life that have chose this lifestyle, and I've watched their deterioration. I've watched their families get thrown in CFS, where someone fucking makes money off them doing their drugs and not want to be responsible for their children. I've had to witness that. I had to witness people in positions of power that have abused their power and have done some pretty shitty things and get away with it. Then there's people that are in government jobs that like to micromanage other people's lives, and they get away with it. See, as soon as you declare somebody crazy, or they had a moment of it's called like a 5150 episode, they're dubbed that for life. And people, when they know that somebody has a moment like that, they will leech onto you. And as soon as you don't want to perform for them, it's like, I'm going to call it perform. As soon as you don't want to do what they want you to do, and they want to manipulate you, and they want to control you and stuff, as soon as you do things against their norm, then you're called crazy. Then you're dubbed things that you're truly not. Another thing I noticed through drug users, especially if they're super high or if they're coming down, is the projection comes out more likely because they're frustrated they can't get high. Or they're frustrated that they can't reach the high that they achieved before. And that's something about drug usage. Each usage makes it to where if you get high again, it's not enough. And you got to do more to keep gaining that high. That's when you, or people that are in, that are drug addicts and stuff, are choosing to, that's where they get sucked in, is where the continuous usage dies down, and it changes it gives them a huge serotonin imbalance. Not only is it a huge serotonin imbalance, but it really causes people to do fucked up shit. And this is to their lovers, to their family members, to complete strangers. And then we have religious-based people that continue to enable the behavior instead of correcting it. Like I did. I put a large post about my sister online, and they're like, well, keep your family drama. I was like, I'm sorry. And then I proceeded to tell them why I did that. See, if I don't do what my sister wants me to do at the time that she tells me to do it, if I don't perform, conform, or whatever it is that she was after at this point, I receive an eviction notice. See, I was lured out there under the guise that my sister was dying. Now, whether she's dying or not, I haven't truly found out, but by her behavior and still continuing to do drugs and still not making the necessary changes for me in order to see that she was being honest, and setting me up with people, mainly guys, to fucking hurt me. I mean, when I have a conversation with someone and it sounds just like my sister coming out of their mouth, that to me tells me that she's behind the situation. She had this tendency, I'll go back to that, the very first time she did this, I think I was 11 or 12, and she was between 12 and 13. See, we're 18 months apart, or somewhere in that area. I don't feel like doing the math, and And the thing about her is she will see me talking to a guy, or at this time it was a boy, and getting chummy with a boy. So then she would go about talking to him too, and then making it to where he doesn't want to talk to me anymore. He doesn't want to be around me. So I would try, and when I was dating stuff, I would try and pick guys that I didn't think that she'd ever find attractive, that she would ever, my fiance was one of these guys. I even tested him before we decided to get together. I had put my sister as a carrot. I've done it. This is how I test guys that if I'm going to have a relationship or not. I'm going to test to see if they're going to sleep with my sister, or try to sleep with my sister, because I guess she's been doing the same test with me. And then there was guys that, like, I don't know. It got to the point where I'm starting to feel that she had sent her friends my way so she could get a bag of dope. And I remember my mom pulling that same stunt, and that's how I got my son. My mother's drug dealer, which was, I guess, a close friend of hers, his visa was about to expire, and so she made sure that I broke up with my boyfriend, who was becoming my fiance. See, I've been engaged a couple of times, but I never followed through except one time, and that one time was a pretty traumatic experience for me, so I kind of developed a fear of marriage too. See, all these things that happen to me, I don't let them control me, but it does make me wary. It does make me very cautious. Not extreme cautious, but I'm aware of what some people are capable of doing, and I like to protect myself. And the first thing that makes me bold is if I don't feel safe. If I don't feel safe, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be around the person, and I don't want to be forced to deal with people that I don't feel safe from. Shasta County had went upon to force me to deal with people that I did not feel safe with. I even tried to see if I could feel safe with them, but I just didn't. And that's where I have to speak up. And that's one of the main reasons why I created this, because I had developed a fear of dating and marriage. And people are like, well, that's stupid, you can get over it, whatever. But if you haven't really lived the experience very closely to someone else, you really cannot relate until you have. I have been in physical abusive relationships. I've been in emotional abusive relationships. I have dated emotionally abusive men. And I have dated physically abusive. So, and I've witnessed both growing up. I've witnessed my mother's marriage, and I witnessed my sister's first marriage. And I gained a lot of knowledge I really didn't want to gain, but it helped protect me through the years and helped me be guided away from those types of relationships. Now, at least I thought so, until I realized that I was possibly marrying the same things that I was running from, or I was dating the same things that I was running from. You live and you learn. But when you keep coming across a certain personality that likes to latch onto you, and you become a consistent supply, you start developing fears, and you start pulling away from people, because when you stand there and you watch people do shitty things, you don't stand up and you walk on eggshells around them. That's where you have let go of your voice and your own power to make things stop. Now I speak up. Now I call things that I find very disturbing or shitty about people to kind of help wake them up and be like, and if I call someone a horrible, rotten person, they really should listen to me, because if I witness your behavior, I'm going to say something, or I'm just going to completely disappear out of your life. So this lady that was a foster parent, she became a foster parent because her son had hung himself. He was so heavily into drugs. I did date her son, and it created it created animosity between me and the mother. But she came off fake. See, people that have problems with me, they don't speak up. They pretend to be my friend until they can fuck me over. The last words I had with her son when I was trying to help him quit drugs, I got frustrated, and I told him to go be with another girl. I said that, this girl's getting a settlement from her parents' life insurance, her parents had ended up killing each other at a gym of some sort. It happened in Oregon, and I guess these two were like really close and stuff. So I didn't want to interrupt their happiness. I didn't want to be a part of it. I was an older woman. He was a very much younger guy. I learned my lesson. I don't date. That's why I don't do age gaps anymore. And I guess they all went up together and they were going to get together, and then he found out she was pregnant by another guy. Well, I guess it affected him so poorly, or so much, that he made a very poor choice and he took his own life. But because of the conversation prior to, that was my last conversation with him. It was me, going off on him, and I still to this day feel like a dirtbag because I could have said something, but I wasn't aware about the girl showing up pregnant and everything and affecting him so badly until after he took his life. And I didn't go to his funeral. I don't go to funerals. That's one thing. I couldn't even make it to my own grandmother's funeral. So I swore I would never go to anybody's funeral because this is a dedication to my grandmother that's already passed. My grandmother died in 2006, and she died right after I told her I was pregnant with my second child. And she was also thinking, me being a single mother of now soon to be 2 children, that she was thinking me being a single mom and raising children was a bad idea. Everybody that has met me has told me that I wouldn't, that I'm not fit. I had a doctor when I've had a lot of strange things happen, we'll put it that way. I had a doctor in a small town tell me, because I showed up experiencing what do you call it? Oh, nausea, or the pregnancy sensations, the symptoms and everything of being pregnant. See, I had to stay in a room where in the closet my brother-in-law and my sister were growing weed. And I found out at the age of 15 that I am allergic. And when I smoke it, I get really sick. I was at a band rehearsal. And this is at it was a local band. The band's called Demise. And I had a crush on the lead singer. His name was Greg. He was, he looked exactly like a Viking god. Like if Thor was a man, it would be this guy. This guy also so he knows that, I couldn't smoke weed, so he gave me acid. So I did acid. And if I say I'd done drugs, I was just experimenting. I didn't make a full usage out of it because, I didn't want to. But, yeah. Found out we were smoking weed after the rehearsal, and I wasn't feeling really good, and I started feeling like pins and needles everywhere from my brain to my toes. Then I got super, super nauseous, and I remembered I hadn't ate. So my sister and Greg were trying to get me to eat. So they gave me red Jello. At that point, I had a little bit, and then I was like, I started getting clammy. I started getting to the point I was going to puke my guts out. So I rushed to the bathroom. I throw up. I come into the kitchen. He's trying to feed me some more because he's like, she needs water. And I pass out on the kitchen floor. So instead of Greg respecting the fact that I might have a drug intolerance, he wanted to see what else I could have. So I did acid. I did 2 hits of Tamplotter, and my sister was on many thins, and I was coming down from the Tamplotter, so to keep it going, I was told orange juice, citrusy stuff, and like that, and no dose. Again, I puked, and it just didn't settle well with me. So, and I fucked up my science test because I was too busy looking at the plant on the filing cabinet in the room moving. My mom had 2 ficus trees on each side of my grandmother's buffet table, and when I got home, they started turning purple, and they started looking like veins, and I'm just tripping and seeing these plants come alive. Well, then I kind of got scared, and I grabbed a knife, and right when I'm trying to cut these veins that were coming at me, I almost sliced my best friend coming through the door with my sister. It was a very eye-opening experience. I had my other friend over and my sister, all of our friends somehow kept always trying to, join, and she didn't like that. I had these girls, and they'd meet her, and they'd rather be friends with her, and that was fine. You just kind of get used to that and everything. It's not a big deal, but, it's whatever. And she has some pretty, interesting friends. But every time I mentioned I had a crush on someone, she made sure that she dated him first. She did not want, until it came to my fiance, then it got to the point, and she claims that there never anything went down and stuff, but I knew better when I came across the police paperwork of a situation that those two were involved in, and even on the paperwork it said that they were lovers. Then I had talked to the girl, but she's dead now. Somebody ended up murdering her, and I asked her because she was walking on my street, and I was like, I confronted her. So did you seriously do that in my sister's home? And she goes, oh yeah. She says, we fucked in the shower and everything. And I'm just like, so I said, so I heard something, and I was just curious if you could tell me. And I was like, were they together? And she goes, yeah. She goes, he had her bank card and had keys and stuff to the place. Like, they were seeing each other on a regular basis. And I was like, my dumbass still got with him. But finding out that she's married and he was with her, kind of sucked. But I was stupid, and I loved him. I loved him so much that I let my marriage fail so I could be with him. Like I said, you live and you learn. You make poor choices, you have to reap the consequences. Well, I've reaped a lot of consequences in my life for my choices. That now I like to spread awareness of what not to do. I came across enough douchebags in my life that inspired me, and they were people that were connected to my sister. See, once you are involved in the drug scene, you meet a lot of people, and everybody's your friend. Because, well, you got a bowl and stuff like that. People hook you up. Misery loves company, and drugs are misery. They're miserable, and they make you feel miserable when you come down, and it's not a very good experience. Or at least it wasn't for me, but some people will tell you otherwise. I just don't feel that things are as cracked up as they say they are. Sex is another thing that I kind of got stunted on. Because when I gave birth to my son, I tore so badly that I had to be sutured. And it took some of my sensation away to where I don't perform 100% as a woman should in bed. And guys don't like the fact that I don't fake orgasms, and they have an issue that I have other methods to get myself off, and it bothers them. And I'm okay being this open and being this honest about my life, because I've had people tell me and tell others things about me that aren't true, or they're partially true, and there's a real legit reason why things are done the way they are. So I'm not screaming for the walls, and I'm not, performing the way that the man expects me to. So therefore, I'm discarded because I didn't do it for them. I remember my fiance telling me when we first, that he was going around telling guys that I was dead in the sack. And I still loved him. And like I said, that unconditional love really can be painful if overdone too much. And I have loved people unconditionally that have a huge negative impact in my life, to where I'm at a point I'm no longer loving unconditionally. And I understand that we had a book created and made to teach you how to love unconditionally, but because of my life experiences, I want to spread awareness and let you know that you can protect yourself and you can feel safe again, and you don't have to put up with people's bullshit. You really don't. You can cut people out of your life and protect yourself. And I'm a firm believer in this. But when Shasta County forces you to raise a child with people that you don't feel safe around, or you don't even feel comfortable being around them and their family members, when you're forced to deal with this, it takes a toll on you. I don't like being forced to do anything. And I presented in my declaration several things that bothered me as them being a part of my child's life, and they still granted these people custody, or primary custody. I've also told that the judge that was appointed favors men that have, criminal past, favors men that has sexual or molestation history. Now, I'm not saying all fathers are going to go out there and fuck their daughters, but seems to be a predominant thing in this area. I've came across 2 guys that have went and had sex with their children, and my ex had actually dated this girl with another guy. Like, they had an open relationship or something where they would constantly get together and they would fuck each other. There was a time where we thought maybe she was pregnant with his child. Now this is way after my divorce, but like I said, you know, the war hero mentality in this town overrides sense, it seems. And if you were in the war, you could do no wrong, and you deserve everything because and he was a firefighter. I mean, any way he could become a hero, he pushed it. And in my eyes, I never saw him as a hero because he showed me a side of him that nobody else was able to see. And finding out that he preferred much younger girls really grossed me out. So, no, I didn't want to be with him. I wanted to be out of my marriage. But he didn't want that because he couldn't pay child support. So what he did is that, well, it ended up being after finding out that he wanted much younger girls, I felt stuck in the marriage because at that time I didn't believe in divorce, and I started doing drugs. Not heavily, but enough to try and start numbing out that if I had to have sex with him, I had to be high because I didn't want him to touch me, knowing that he had touched my underage babysitter. Then we ended up doing the drugs together, and it kind of was giving us a false sense that we could fix our marriage. But then finding out they had, it opened the door to him cheating on me more, really fucked with me, and I wanted out. So I got my out, but it didn't go according to plan, because my best friend and everything was having an affair with him, and they were telling me that I was crazy. They were gaslighting me, saying that there's nothing going on, but my sister had contacted me and told me that she saw them at the local grocery store, and they were, looking like a family. And they just looked like the perfect family. And my sister wanted to make sure that I knew this. So when I approached them, I was crazy. No, nothing like this is going on. And the drug usage kind of started increasing. It was a very, very eye-opening experience to find out that my husband was fucking my best friend, who I thought was my best friend, but then I realized she wasn't my best friend. And then there was, I took let's see, first time I had found out that he had been cheating and lying and hiding money. I had took a shovel to his pickup. See, I learned at a young age, people that are guilty of the accusations respond differently to people that react when they have a poor reaction to a situation. People that are guilty of the actual actions respond differently, and I found that out because from the first time he called the cops, he didn't press charges. Then when I found out about the underage babysitter, cops were only called to get his stuff. And when I found out about the underage babysitter, I took a sledgehammer to his quad. Again, charges were not pressed. Now people were like, well, you shouldn't have done that. Or no. See, that just shows you how fucked up Shasta County is. I told the sheriff when he showed up that he had slept with a 15-year-old girl. And he did nothing. Anytime an accusation like that is put out there, I would think CFS would have been involved. But because I was already labeled, estranged or whatever it was, because before he became my husband, I found out he had put a gun in my bedroom in an unlocked case. Like, it was locked, but it wasn't a safe locked case. And when he did that, I was worried about my 5-year-old son getting a hold of the gun and hurting himself. So I didn't even know that there was a gun in my home. And it was a rifle. And I was really upset. And I was pregnant with my third. This is how stupid I was. I threw the gun on the ground. I said, take your shit and leave. And he grabbed me by my sweatshirt and threw me down and got so angry and said, don't you throw my shit around, and was sitting on top of my abdomen. I could have miscarried my child because of his violent reaction. I should have never married him. And a lot of people are like, oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda. But you know what? When you actually hear him, and you actually know, I had a very low self-esteem when I got married. And he only married me because, his mom told him how much more money he would make, especially tax season. So I hate tax season. I hate tax season for many reasons, but for the most, I hate it because someone only wanted to make extra money and didn't even love me. And because if he loved me, he would have never done half the shit that he did. He wouldn't have lied. He wouldn't have slept with my friend. He wouldn't have done any of the horrible things that he had did. And I'm a firm believer, when a man does terrible shit to you, he doesn't love you. So, like I said, shitty behavior and doesn't justify shit. Shitty behavior is just that, shitty behavior. You do horrible things to somebody and you think you get away with it and everything. You really don't. Somehow life shows you the consequences. You deal with the consequences. I don't think I'm fucked up, and I don't think I'm crazy. I think I've just been through a lot of shit. And I think me still being here and still pushing myself to put up and be patient and deal with what I'm dealing with, because Shasta County has, and Tehama County and all of this fucking Northern California is shit. It has poor management. The district attorney that has been here that for the 20 years or 15 years is what she said, she's done a really lousy fucking job. And I don't want to be here if she's going to be the district attorney again. I've seen too many people getting robbed, getting away with it. We have a revolving fucking jail door. But then we have a courthouse that was just recently being built, and it looks like it's a new jail. So, and there's still people out there doing really shitty things to people and getting away with it. We told that, harassment's harassment, but nothing's being done. You have to go in there and submit a complaint. You just can't make a phone call and have them show up and handle it, because they don't. They don't. So I had got to a point I had to handle things myself. And however way I handled my things. And that's kind of what I feel like Shasta County's become, is you've just fend for yourself. Drug dealers don't get held accountable for people dying from overdose. Drug dealers and doctors that prescribe these medications, the opiates and everything, they don't get any responsibility for someone's death. There's not even, toxicology reports done. Not every time someone dies is there not investigation. What do you call it? Oh, fuck. The word's there, but it's not there. There isn't always a report done. Like where you do a toxicology and stuff like that. People are literally can get around and get away with murder because of funding being an issue. People don't have enough money to do anything anymore. So when I say things are fucked up in Northern California, especially Shasta County, believe me, everything's turning to shit. Your fucking drugs are destroying this fucking town. Your fucking drugs are destroying families. Your drugs are destroying people. I hope you're really proud of yourself. I hope you can fucking, you know what I actually hope? I hope that you reap every consequence that these people's lives that you've affected. I hope you get it tenfold. I hope that you wind up dead. I hope that you wind up homeless. I hope that you get divorced. I hope that you lose your children. I hope that you never get a job. I hope that you get to suffer the same consequences of your clients. Tenfold. That's what I hope for drug dealers. Growers. The illegal growing. This is what I hope for you. This is what I hope takes place. For the sheriff that didn't do his job and still a woman winds up dead because he didn't take the complaint serious enough. I hope you suffer the same consequence. I hope you wind up in a hospital with a broken neck. I hope that you wind up dead because you failed to do your job. For the nurse that didn't feel like doing her job that day and didn't listen to a child's plea, I don't want to go home yet. If people just pay attention to the details, there's a lot of shit that you're just like, give no fucks about that you should be caring about. Pay attention, people. We're in bad times. Maybe not end times or whatever the fuck, but Shasta County is fucking falling to pieces because we have poor management. We have piss poor, power greedy, hungry motherfuckers making this the shittiest fucking county in the nation. I said it. I'll go to court for it. I have so much evidence of you not doing your job. Please arrest me. Please bring me in there so I can be heard. But if you arrest me, I'm going to sue the fucking pants off of you. because I have not done anything to be arrested for. When I say I'm tired, I mean it. I'm fucking tired of all the bullshit I've had to witness. Do your fucking job. Please, I'm begging you. We've got people that are drug addicts that are in power of renting, owning homes and sending them as rentals. You should develop a list of people that should not be able to rent their homes. You should make it to where people that do fucked up shit and get away with it, you should reap those fucking consequences. I'm just done. And until I see fucking changes, I'm not going to shut up. So if I wind up fucking dead, I want my death investigated. And if it's not investigated, I hope someone does stand up and sues the fuck out of you if I can't do it. And I'm in the process of doing it. On that note, everyone, I spoke my piece. Have a good one.